I'm not really good at live commentaries, so let's start the game before I forget something. Welcome to... Oh, wait a moment. Zoom out a bit. Yes, welcome to Gandhi, the Decolonization of British India. It is a game, a board game, in the Coin series, Counterinsurgency series, and it's published by GMT Games, which M&T, I believe, left the company about 30 years ago, and G is... less said about him, the better. I hear people are saying he is making amends, but... whatever. Anyway, they did not design this game. So, this is a game about kicking the British out of India by means of weaponized Gandhi. There are 4 factions in play. There's the Indian National Congress. There is the Muslim League. Now, the Congress is trying to just make the British leave using primarily methods of non-violent resistance and stare-downs. The Muslim League is kinda a part of the Congress. I believe it actually was a part of the Congress in the original design of the game, but Coin series at the time only supported 4 factions. So the League was made into its own faction, and its primary purpose is to achieve the historical result of Indian independence, and that is the partition of India. You see, there are these provinces, areas, and these 2 cities, Karachi and Calcutta. And these places are the places where there is a high percentage of a Muslim population, and the idea of the Muslim League is to make them just split from the whole program. Then there is the revolutionaries, which is an amalgamation of all potentially of all violent factions which wanted to just make things explode, including some communists, I believe. It's not a single faction, it's many different ones changing constantly over the decades. And the big bad everyone hates is the British Raj, which is represented in the game by these guys. These are troops, these are actually British troops, and the Raj can use them whenever it wants, and they're the best fighting force in the game. And the only problem is that there aren't that many of them. And most of the Raj forces are made up of these guys. These are sepoys, who are locals. And as such, they are kind of vulnerable to potential subversion by the insurgent factions. And they're also not very good at fighting insurgent factions, because why would they want to fight their neighbors, right? So, yeah. These are the 4 forces. We are going to be playing as the Indian National Congress. I kind of wanted to play this last year, and actually did a couple of videos explaining the rules and the key principles of the game. But I'm going to link to these videos in the description, they're unlisted. And I wanted to... Initially, the plan was to play with the, forum thread picking strategy, but the rules of this series is kind of difficult to explain. Well, it takes a while to get, so I'll be just playing and explaining what is going on. I'll see if we get a good story out of this. I'll be playing against 3 bots, because yes, board games have bots now. The bots are represented by these stacks of cards, I said. And this is the stack for Congress is going to time out. And this is also going to time out because these are resource trackers, and neither revolutionaries nor the Raj use resources when they are played by bots. Bots are creatures of whim, they're operated by randomness, and these priority tables for their actions. Anyway, I'm going to shuffle this. So we're playing as the Indian National Congress. We've got in our weapons, we've got these activists, which can be like this, inactive, not doing much of anything. Or they can be active. Usually they're only active when they are in a space with a protest, so they're stirring up the protest. Which is when they're actually doing something. The only problem with this is that when they are active, they can get arrested by the Raj. They're rather high profile then. These guys, when they're like this, they're basically invisible. Which can be useful. It's usually useful. The only problem with them is that they're off color. You see this color? This is not orange. Oh, something I should probably mention. These bots, they are not really part of the materials that a publisher usually allows to be published online. But this is the module linked in the Coin Series Discord, and the series developer hangs out in that Discord. So, I guess this is kind of endorsed. Now, what are we going to do first? First, we're going to build up this deck of events, because this game operates by a deck, by a deck of cards. It sets the tone for everything. And then, oh yes, we also need to add some more cards. We need to add the British Viceroys of India. There are 7 of them, and whichever we get, we're going to see 5 of them in the game, and they're going to be determined randomly. I'm going to put one here. And what do we get? Wait, flip. Oh, we get Lord Mountbatten, who has no effect on the non-player Raj, so the bot is not affected by this guy. Governor General 1947. Yeah, the guy is not very lucky with his assignment. Now let me see what the game's playbook... Yes, this game's playbook actually contains like historical information on it. There's also a pronunciation guide, very useful. Let's see what the playbook, which I have also in a physical form right in front of me, says about this stuck-up asshole. This is card 79. Okay, it doesn't have much to say about this guy, just one paragraph. Louis Francis Albert Victor Nicholas Mountbatten. Oh, crap. Louis Francis Albert Victor Nicholas Mountbatten, first Earl Mountbatten of Burma, was the last British Viceroy of India, serving less than a year in 1947. He oversaw the withdrawal of British forces, the partitioning of India, and the creation of the states of India and Pakistan at midnight on the 14th-15th August 1947. Wow. Okay, so he created 2 states? I bet he put this on his resume. So, this is our Viceroy at the start of the game. He doesn't have any special abilities, so we're just going to ignore him. But the other 6 are going into our special deck of events. Let's see how this deck is formed so that everybody knows what to expect. We got this shuffled, Now we're putting 1 card from the Viceroy deck and 6 cards from the General Event deck. 6. Shuffle these and add more 6 regular events on top. Okay, that's 1 pile. Now we're doing another one like this. So the game has a bit of a rhythm when we predictably have 6 cards of regular events with no nasty surprises. And then there is a chance that a new Viceroy comes into India, and that results in a bit of a lull in everyone's activities, and allows forces to redeploy, maybe gather resources, and just drum up support for their cause. It's called a campaign round, a propaganda round, depending on game. And these should be the last cards, which will go on top of the deck. 1 more. Okay. So this is our deck of 52 event cards. This is the entire game. We've got 24 cards left over. We're putting them aside. We're not peeking at what's left, and we're not peeking at the last remaining Viceroys. They're going to be a surprise. So we're almost ready to begin. Now, I should probably explain what we're supposed to be doing as the Indian National Congress. We need to build opposition. So you see, this is the map of India. It's got major cities, it's got provinces, central provinces, or Bihar, or united provinces, and lots of provinces. It's got these Muslim spaces, and it's got princely states, which are a special kind of province. One of their special properties is that Raj troops, the red cubes, are not allowed into them ever. Which is kinda good. So, how do we get our victory points? We have... see, total oppose, 4. This is our victory point marker. What does it mean? That means that... Well, there are places like Gujarat and Hyderabad, sorry, I keep messing up the pronunciation. And these places are at passive opposition, which means we take this 1 times 1 multiplied by the population of the place, and that gives us 1 point of opposition. So we get 1 point here, 1 point here, and we've got 2 points over here in East Bengal. We get 2 points because this is a high-density place. Yes, there are more people here, so we get 2 points. Mind you, these markers can also be flipped to, active opposition, which doubles the points you get from a space, which is nice. We want to see as much as possible at active opposition, though it's kind of difficult to maintain. Right, so what I was looking for. Oh, yes. A note about population of different spaces in India. There is a special note that they're not reflective of the actual population in that place. They just mean high-density population and low-density population, because otherwise Gujarat at 1 population would mean that West and East Bengal together should have a population of 100. The map doesn't work quite as well as it does in other coin games, where these numbers are actually a certain number of population, a certain number of people. So obviously, for our cause, we need to drum up opposition in different places on the map, preferably in 2 pop spaces on the map. But we don't want to do this too much in the green areas, because our best frenemies, the Muslim League, well, their victory points are total Muslim opposition and the population of Muslim states. But before we get to Muslim states, Muslim opposition also needs to will also go up if we start setting opposition here in the green areas. And this is a problem for us, because for the Congress to win, Congress needs to get India this pissed off, the 21 points worth of pissed off, while the Muslim League needs only 15 points. So any point we get in the north, in the green areas, is actually bringing the League closer to its win. Much closer to its win than us. And there's, of course, the question of Muslim states. Muslim states are this adorable little marker, which can be dropped, and it turns this area into another state, and troops will be kicked out of it immediately. And the thing about it is that it gives the League twice the population as victory points. Of course, if a Muslim state were placed in a place like Punjab, I think, then they get 2 points or 4 points from the state. And if this place ends up being at active opposition, they'll get 4 points from this, and the result of this would be 8 victory points for the League, and it only needs 15 to win. So the League is a bit of a weird faction that can win by just setting Punjab and Bengal on fire and establishing Muslim states there, and then it just... yeah, okay, India is partitioned. Goodbye. Now, as for these guys, the revolutionaries, they get victory points from placing bases, which are like bases of support, and they get points from placing unrest, which is violent unrest. In most other games in the series, these tokens are actually called terror, but here it is unrest. And as for the Raj, well, it gets victory points by placing these, by having control over spaces, and by building support, passive, or twice as much active support. Now, the control of spaces is a very simple thing. See, it's got 4 pieces. The Raj got 4 pieces here, and the other faction has got no active pieces here. This is important. These guys are not active, they're not protesting. So the Raj just has full control of Bombay. Now, if these guys were to flip over, Raj would still have control over Bombay, because there are 4 active pieces of the Raj and 2 active pieces of other factions. But, say, in a place like Bengal, if this guerrilla, who is now currently underground and is not affecting anything, goes active, and if the protest starts here, then we'll get an active piece, and this is a base, it always counts as an active piece. So these 3 will be equal to active pieces of other factions, and the Raj will lose control in Bengal. This is important for some activities in the game, including our activities, so it's nice when the Raj doesn't have control. It's unfortunately, the bot is kind of wired to get control as efficiently as it can. So this is not going to be easy. Alright, have I... We've got the deck. Oh, yes, the most important thing. This is not an activist, this is a Gandhi, and Gandhi cannot be deactivated ever. Gandhi is ever vigilant, always on, always plotting. And, before we start the game, before I even open this card, I need to take this protest marker and place it anywhere I want on the map. This protest marker, this activist, and this Gandhi. Where do I want to protest? Where do I want to start a protest? Because protests are kind of important for us. Well, you know what? Let's actually ask the rulebook. Because the game doesn't say it explicitly what's the historical start, but... See here. This is the beginning of the main scenario, there's a bit to write up. April 1917, a local tax dispute in Champaran attracts the interest of a little-known Bombay lawyer, Mohandas Gandhi. Champaran will become the focus of Gandhi's first campaign to free India from British rule, a test of the techniques of non-violent resistance he developed during more than 20 years in South Africa. So, Champaran. Where is Champaran? I looked it up online, and it turns out to be in the province of Bihar, so this is where we're going. This is where we're going to start our protest. Right, Gandhi, activist, protest. I'll explain later what protest actually does to people. But ideally what we want to see no presence of Raj, we want this place to be uncontrolled, and then we want to perform, what's it called? The non-cooperation activity, which shifts the place towards opposition by one level. Unfortunately, this activity is also going to shift restraint, which is kind of a measure of how restrained the police is in beating everyone up. And when it goes lower, we don't want that. It's going to be kind of unpleasant. We've placed our guys in Bihar. We're planning for some action, non-violent action, for now. And we are ready to start and see how this is going to go. We pull one card from here, flip it. We pull another card here, and flip it. Crap, okay. So let's see, first card, number 13, Ottoman collapse creates vacuum. I'm going to read what this means in the playbook. There we go. Card 13, Ottoman collapse creates a vacuum. The end of World War I brought an end to the Ottoman Empire, once the largest and most powerful Muslim empire in history. The last Ottoman Sultan was also the last caliph or political ruler of all Muslims. In India, some in the Muslim community supported the pan-Islamic aims of the Khilafat movement to return a caliph to power, while others looked inward in support of secular Indian nationalism. So this is the event, and I suppose it happens even nobody actually decides to do anything about it. But there are two ways this event can play. There is an unshaded part of the event description and the shaded one. And this determines who gets to act on this event, who gets to capitalize on the effects of this event. Right, and these icons at the top of the cards, they determine in what order the factions get to act on the card. So let's see what we get here. This is an underlined action, and it's, you see there is a highlight around the Muslim League icon, which means that it's, first of all, the bot is going to pick this action, is going to do this. And secondly, it is going to play the top part. Normally, insurgent factions will pick the shaded part, and the Raj will pick the top, but in this case, the League is going to side with the Raj, I guess. Let's see. Muslim community in India agitates for independence. Shift to unity -2, or add one Muslim state to any Muslim province with no Raj control. Game, how are you supposed to make me pick what is considered, what the bot is going to do? Actually, let's see. What is considered effective for bots? Removes, adds... Well, it doesn't say anything about unity here, but it has a Muslim state, so we're going to add a Muslim state, hey. And where are we going to add the Muslim state? Let's see. Any Muslim province with no Raj control. Well, I can tell you right now that this is going to be... We can't add here, not in Punjab, because there is Raj control. Not in East Bengal, but there is West Bengal, which is a two-pop province. And if I check the priority tables of the Muslim League... Place Muslim state, not active opposition, two-pop. Yep, there is only one place where it can go. And so the League gets its free state without having to spend many turns on trying to create a situation where it would be able to to create a state using its regular actions. It just gets free victory points. And so the League is now at 4 points. Am I correct? Oh, by the way, this button is not present here in the physical game, so... Okay, yes. Wait, what? Muslim League victory points... Oh, yes, twice the population, I forgot. Oh, crap, this is not looking good. Right, so the League has played the event. The sequence of play I kind of need to explain. There will be several factions eligible on each card, and the first eligible faction gets to pick one of these 3 tracks. The League has played the event, which means that the second eligible faction gets to do Operation and Special Activity, which is generally the main kind of turn a player can do. Actually use their pieces on the map and do stuff with them. If the first eligible faction plays Operation Special Activity, then the second faction can play the event, or a limited operation, meaning just run an operation in a single province instead of all around the map. Now, sometimes, of course, the first eligible faction will not want to do the event, but it also will think that the second eligible should not be able to do the event either, and that's when you do Operation only, and that cuts the event option out of the second eligible faction's choice of options. Also, it's possible to pass, which just makes you pass, yes, and you remain eligible for the next turn. Right, so what's our next faction? The Raj, right? The Raj is going to do Operation Special Activity. There is no reason not to. By the way, this is the wrong crown. Okay, so the Raj is going to do... let's see what the Raj is going to do. I've shuffled this deck. Let's see what it says. Any underground guerillas that support spaces? Yes, actually quite a lot of them. So these are underground guerillas. There are support spaces. Yeah, this is a problem. Troops in cities exceed troops in provinces. Ooh, let's see. 1, 2, 3. There are 3 troops in cities, and there are 2 troops in provinces. Yeah, they do exceed, so let's follow this flowchart. Select govern in 2 spaces. Remove protest when no actors, no? Okay, imperialism is going to do imperialism. 3. Okay, that means it gets to do things in places that do things to make the population love it and support it. The British are trying. Shift to support 2 pop, no protest, unrest. Well, there is only one space like this with unrest. So we're doing imperialism, which is this procedure. Buy imperialism for up to 2 levels. Okay. We got a roll of 3, so this is what's happening. It's first going to use 1 point from that roll to remove unrest, and then it's going to buy 2 levels of imperialism. So it's going to remove this opposition first, and then it's going to add a 2nd level by placing active support here, passive support here. And so, people love the Raj in East Bengal now. Well, not love, like. I think they should be able to do this, right? Give me a moment. If no active adversaries. Give me a moment. I'm going to check something in the rules. What is considered an adversary? Because that is kind of an important term, and I don't want to miss bibliography. No. Glossary. Adversaries. Any pieces other than Aha, wait, it cannot do, actually it cannot do govern here, because this is an active piece. This is an active piece. So I'm going to re-roll back. What the hell is happening here? Oh, come on. So it cannot do this. It cannot remove unrest because there is actually... Oh yeah, wait, it can remove unrest. It can remove unrest. It cannot make people love it more. So this is going to remain like this, but the Raj is allowed to do this govern thing in 2 spaces. Clearly it cannot make people love because there's still a base here, but it can do stuff. It can... Oh, I should just... 2 pop... No unrest. Most opposition neutral. Okay, it's going to do stuff in a neutral space where it has control. And it's going to buy itself active support, 2 levels. It's going to buy itself active support in Punjab. And 28 victory points for the Raj. Everyone is getting victory points. Oh, wait. These guys lost 2 victory points. Everyone's getting victory points except for us. I should probably do something about this. So, this is... Yes, this is it for the Raj turn. Oh, wait, no, this was just a special activity. Then we're going to sweep. And sweep is a thing. Let's see, places for sweep. Spaces with no control, 2 pop, protest. Okay, I know what's going to happen now. Spaces with no control, 2 pop, this is one of them. And places with protest, it's going to be secondary priority. First, it's going to sweep into here. How can it do it? Here's the instructions. Keep 1 troop on... Okay. Keep sufficient pieces not to lose large control. Get 1 troop to destination. Can't do this in state. Get 1 sepoy to destination. Alright. We're going to start moving pieces from the places where there are most of those pieces, so... 1 sepoy goes here. And then, what do? Add sepoys until cubes exceed any active adversary's destination. We are actually already exceeding active adversaries at destination. So we're just hanging out here in the state. That's done. Now we're going to roll a cube to see if the Raj is going to continue this stuff. 2. Wait, I'm not checking the right thing. This is the thing. I rolled 2, and restraint is at 4, which is bad for the Raj, because the Raj doesn't use the bot Raj doesn't use resources, but it has to roll after the first operation. It has to roll every time it operates in a single space, and it has to roll above restraint to continue to operate. So 5 or 6. The restraint is high, so at 2 it has to stop. This simulates the fact that it costs too much for it to operate. However, there's just one piece of bad news for us, and that is that the Raj can no longer use sepoys in this operation, but it can use the troops. The troops are free to use. The British troops are free to use. They're always ready to crack skulls. And that's a problem because... Let's see. Oh, wait. Right. 2 pop... Wait, no. Sweep. Raj control, 2 pop, protest, a few unrest. Actually, I could have also done it here, right? But... Sweeps will be most opposition. Muslim state. Yes, Muslim state is a priority. This is kind of a big deal. So it swept into the state, and that's why I'm doing this. Next, we got a protest space, right? Actually, you know what? It should have started by going into my protest space. So this is what it's going to do. What it's actually going to do. Place a troop here. Place another guy here. And that makes it exceed until they exceed. So it's going to go like this. Sorry, my protest is way more higher priority than apparently the Muslim state. So now there are two active pieces of the Congress here, and there is just there are 3 troops here. So Raj gets control of this place, and my attempt at doing something is kind of foiled. 30 points for the Raj. Raj only needs 39, so we kind of need to start doing shit. This is what it's going to do. This is first action. Now it can't do, because I rolled poorly, it can't do it in this place. What is it going to do? It's going to keep, how does it say? At each 2 pops not at active support. Give me a second. This is kind of one of the longer things to do. Sweep involves moving pieces, and that's why it's the longest operation to actually carry out. Space no control, 2 pop protest. So, okay, spaces with no control. They are these: United Provinces, Bombay Presidency, and Madras Presidency. So, can it sweep? It cannot sweep in Madras Presidency because it only has like sepoys nearby. It's going to sweep in Bombay Presidency, but it only has this 1 troop. So, yeah, it's going to do it. And it's sweeping, which means it's searching for insurgents. Which means this guy flips over. The guerrilla is now known to the Raj. This is not... Okay, and it's going to sweep... It's going to sweep in place here, I believe. By all priorities, it's a 2 pop space. It's got control, yes, but fewest active adversaries. It just doesn't have anywhere to go. Then it can sweep. Well, it can sweep here, and it can go here, which actually won't establish control, but it is going to do it because it is a 2 pop space with no Raj control. No troops also, then that's a big priority, so... I'm not sure about Punjab, because it's an active support, which is very unusual for Punjab. Maybe the Raj can do something else, because these guys... can't really go anywhere with this. 2 pop protest, fewest adversaries. Yeah, it's going to sweep in place, I think. It can do that. So this is the first action of the Raj. It made people love it. It got itself some points. It got itself... It doesn't have control in these spaces because it doesn't exceed active adversaries, but it's getting there. 30, yeah, we're not doing very well. But then again, we haven't done anything. Right, so this is the end of the turn for the Raj. And... Is it? First of all, we'll take this card, and we... putting it. Now, these 2 factions, they've just acted, so they go into ineligible factions, and they're going to stay there for... well, until another... for 1 card. When you act on a card, unless you pass, you sit the next card out. So, the next card is... the next card is Direct Action Day. Ooh. And this is an event for revolutionaries. So what is Direct Action Day? Card 72. Direct Action Day. In 1946, the Muslim League called for a Direct Action Day to protest the formation of an interim government without League approval. Hindu-Muslim tensions were already high across India. They erupted into violence in Calcutta. Over several days of rioting, 4,000 were killed. The split between Hindu India and Muslim India was irreparable. Partition was inevitable. Okay, so this is a revolutionaries special action, and they're going to go with shaded. They're not... Wait, they're not highlighted, so they're going to go with shaded part. Great Calcutta killings. In up to 4 spaces with underground guerillas, add 1 guerrilla, or if no Raj control, 1 unrest marker. Okay. Okay, so there's just one problem with this, you see? Places with underground guerrillas. Raj has just swept across the entire India, and this is the place. Okay, what are we going to do? Add guerrillas or add unrest markers? Adds unrest, yes. Unrest is first priority, so this is what they're going to do. Maybe they would have done something else, but they're going to do this. I mean, a human player would have probably not picked this action, but maybe it's going to do something. Okay, unrest, so that gives 2 points to these guys. Right, finally, after all this time, it's actually our turn. And given that we're not going to be the first eligible on the next card, it's not going to be our event. Gandhi's fast unto death. Oh, ew. Let's do Operation Special Activity. What kind of Operation Special Activity can we do now that these guys are here being assholes? Well, I have an idea. I can do Persuade, which allows me to remove an active piece, which is going to work here nicely, because if I remove this guy, it's actually going to remove Raj control from here. Or I can do Satyagraha, which is Gandhi teleport. Yes, it's Gandhi, see? Move Gandhi to any space. And that allows me to place a Congress activist in this space. I could literally make Gandhi, like, hop out of existence and then return to Bihar, and immediately summon another activist here, which will also which will also give me control. Well, remove control. I think I'm going to go with... I mean, I don't have to do this. At the same time, I do want to remove support. Okay, let's do it. Oh, by the way, Operation and Special Activity, they're like these 2 columns. The thing about them is that I'm allowed to do this special activity before the operation, after the operation, or even in the middle of an operation, so the order doesn't really matter. So I can first remove these recipes and then do non-cooperation. Let's give it a shot. You know what? I'm going to tab Gandhi. Let's do Satyagraha. Let's bring 1 piece here from the map. Now we got 3 activists, 2 activists and Gandhi, 3 troops. Control goes away. Raj loses victory points. And then I'm going to do non-cooperation. Spaces with protest Congress activists. Right. Shift 1 space towards active opposition. This goes into trash. And, unfortunately, restraint goes down by 1 level. Yes, we made the Raj a little bit mad. But we also removed 2 points from them. So they're back at 26. That's nice. That's really nice, because, see, here's the thing. Rally. We can rally new activists in places which are neutral or opposition. So this kind of gives us an area where we can rally more pieces, bring them into action, and then, I don't know, move them somewhere, like in, say, in the United Provinces, where there is support where we cannot rally. So yeah, this is actually, could be a long-term investment. Of course, could be a complete waste of time, but that's just how things go. So these guys go into ineligible. These guys into eligible, and I'm not going to play the next card. I'm just going to see what it does. Ooh, man, this deck, holy crap. Look at this. Another card which places a Muslim state. This is one of the things about the Muslim League. It can get lucky with cards. There are cards which literally allow the League just spam Muslim states without doing anything. The normal procedure for Muslim states is, let me show you. First, civil disobedience. Okay, start a protest using civil disobedience or demonstrate. Then, non-cooperation to make this place, an opposition place. Then, negotiate Oh, as it says, yes. Negotiate if this place is a Muslim opposition province where they have more pieces than the Congress has pieces, then they can place a Muslim state marker. Except when they're doing this, normally they're setting the place to passive support. So basically the idea is that when the League does it normally, it's kind of striking a deal with the Raj, and so people in that place like the Raj a bit more, which gives points to the Raj and takes points away from us. So that this is not nice. By the way, let's look at this card. Place a Muslim in any Muslim province. See, they don't even need a place to be without British control. They can do it anywhere. And let's see if they're even going to play that card, because there is a priority table. Current eligible event, critical and effective. Next eligible could choose critical event. Will be first eligible on oncoming critical event. Yeah, so what's going to happen next time, in the next video, is that the Muslim League is going to pass. Actually, might as well do it right now. Muslim League is going to pass, and when non-violent faction passes, it gets to add to its supply of available forces from these out-of-play forces. Great. Wonderful. Alright, well, we'll talk about this event and what the Raj is going to do next time. I hope you haven't been completely overwhelmed. And we'll be back to Gandhi to see what the hell is going to happen to India later. By the way, look at this nice overflow book. This is Indian Railroad. Oh, by the way, railroads. This game actually does have railways. These things, you see, with numbers. We're not going to be using these spaces because they only affect the resources of the Raj. And since Raj board doesn't use resources, there is very little point in ever trying to do anything with railroads. That's one problem with playing with bots. A certain part of the game is just completely taken out. Okay, let's cut here.